So the last episode we built this thing to sort of try to grind some fairly decent amounts of XP and just be consistent in our experience gain for each game so that you guys can level up fast and easy and without too much inconvenience. But today I feel like we gotta talk about the next very important step when you're trying to create a nice build for grinding. And that is fuel, because as you remember, we just unlocked the first steps, which is that we can now participate in raids. A very good thing, but in order to do raids, we sort of have to watch out for our fuel levels. And you get, right now I get 100 a day, and I think it's when you max level you get like 200 a day instead. I'm not sure, but I feel like it is. Let's just try to see if we can find it in here. Oh, I'm really not sure about that actually. Let's just see, level 30, does it say? No, just increased parts limit. I don't remember when you get 200 fuel instead of just 100, but I know that there is some time before that becomes available. No, there it is, at level 10, so actually it's not that far away. But we want to be able to have just a lot of fuel for when that day comes, so what I want to show you guys today is a nice little trick that you should definitely go ahead and use, which is basically just hiding a ton of fuel barrels on your vehicle. And the reason why this is so important is because I see so many people filling out like the rear trunk here with a fuel barrel. Like, you know, they stick in a fuel barrel right there and then they go like, oh, that's perfect. But it isn't, because look, if I have my fuel barrel right, let's just say right there, and I go test drive. Let's just try to drive out to a vehicle and I will show you guys why this is such a bad idea. Like, it's literally one of the worst ideas that you can do, and one of the biggest mistakes that you can possibly make. Because watch what happens when I hit this fuel barrel. Look, it starts burning and boom, it explodes, and we've just dealt 200 damage to this cabin. So we pretty much halved our own health pool just by hitting this fuel barrel. So let's put it down there, because as you can see, first of all, it's much harder to hit when it is down there, and second of all, it will just be way less exposed, and also we can actually cover it up pretty well here, as you can see. If we throw in some bumpers right there and then we grab some van ramps, boom, there we go. Now I know we do lose some of the cover here on our cabin, but don't be saddened just yet, because we can still cover up some of it, and we still get all of the structure. You know, we get structure from the van ramps here. Oh, is something not aligned there? No, something is wrong. Oh wow, that's because of the fuel barrel, but we don't mind just yet. Now we can put on one more part, and I actually feel like we should maybe do something like this just to protect the guns a bit from the rear. So there we go. We still have a vehicle with almost 450 structure like before. We lost some because we added the bumpers and the van ramps in order to protect the fuel barrel. But watch what happens now. Last time we had to hit it 3 times and I could fire it directly at the fuel barrel. But watch what happens now when I go out here and I try to shoot the fuel barrel. Look how long this takes. I had to fire on it and I had to focus the fuel barrel for so long. So the chance that you will blow up is pretty low. And our power score is still 1800, so we are within the limit of most new players, so you should still be good to go. You won't meet like some insane players with very high power score builds and stuff like that. So don't worry about that. And in my opinion, you want to do this. You want to start grinding fuel as quickly as possible. And let's just grab a few games in this build and see how this thing actually performs in battle. And by the way, while we are at it, as you can see, I queue up for Get the Cabin. The cabin sells for more than 2, the Huntsman cabin, so do just start grinding that as quickly as possible, because that will be the easiest way for you guys to make money. Oh, it's 176 at the moment, but it will fluctuate from 150 to 2 coins each. So in my opinion, this is the best and most reliable way of getting coins while you are just grinding your level. And we got ourselves a game, and while we drive up to the enemy, we can just try to take a look at some people's builds. Like, look at this one, for example. His cabin is exposed and all of his guns are here. So putting all of his structure on the rear like he did is not really a good idea. It makes very little sense to do so. Let's just try to send in our allies here and see if they can face tank some of the initial shots. And see if we can stay behind and grab some experience and some kills as well. That build was quite quickly. And you have a shotgun build over there. Not really ideal to have a shotguns on your build and then sit all the way in the rear like that. But that's his choice. Makes it way easier for us at least. Oh no, don't ram me, brother. Get out of my face. Good amount of kills there, and actually some very good points as well. Why is he shooting at me? Oh, there's an enemy as well. Hello there, Jacob. And like you can see, we simply just struggle so little to kill our enemies in all of these games. And we're just getting so freaking many points. So a simple, more than decent build like this will get you very far in this game. I am sure of that. So yeah, if you need a new build, look at something like this. I mean, just look at our points. They're just going up and up and up. 1400 points in a game like this is pretty good. Now I do know that I got a ton of experience in this game and stuff like that, but it ain't all that hard in the beginning, so you are able to do this. This is not smurfing or anything if you think that, but yeah, it's just the start of the game. But as you can see, we just got 5 fuel. And I know you might be thinking 5 fuel, well, that's almost nothing. But then again, it costs 20 fuel to go for a data theft raid. And you need 40 fuel for the normal raids. So you want to grind fuel quickly, because you will need fuel for the weekly challenges in here. And doing these early on is a pretty good idea, because as you can see, you can actually get the Wanderer's Crate as soon as you get to level 10 if you got 600 foreign coins or engineer badges. So you want to grind fuel quickly. You can also sell it. Now the price is pretty low at the moment, but it will be above 7 when special raids start, so go ahead and watch out for that as well. That's a pretty good idea in my opinion. Now I've sat here and I've completed 4 games. So we got a new car jack, we got some small wheels, and we basically just got a ton of stuff. We also have a spare cord and we have a spare Lupera and stuff like that. So we got a lot of new stuff, and then 700 scrap because we completed the daily challenges. So like, where do you go from here? Now you know how to grind fuel, and you know how to grind some pretty decent consistent experience, which is very important. I can't address that enough, guys. You gotta grind experience, because the faster that you get your faction to level 10, the faster you can start specializing. And now specializing is one of the things that we're gonna talk about later, because you have all of these drivers for your co-drivers rather, which give you various bonuses depending on what you want to play. And it is important to select the correct thing, because like, it doesn't matter to level up Jade if you're not playing with energy weapons, because as you can see, that's sort of the specialization in here. You get a lot of damage bonuses and stuff like that for your energy weapons, and you maybe don't want to select Stone Death if you're not really interested in cannons, because he gives a lot of bonuses to cannons. So what should you choose? Well, that really depends on what you want to play. If you want to play a cannon build, a shotgun build, and don't get me wrong, you're not locking on to just one thing. If you choose like Perseus, then you don't have to only play machine guns, miniguns, or drones. You can play different things, because as you can see, Master Jack here has a ton of various bonuses to a lot of different things. So he's a good co-driver to have leveled up, because he gives you a ton of different bonuses for pretty much everything. As you can see, there's vehicle durability, there's machine gun, miniguns, shotguns, cannons, something about the radar, even more machine guns and cannons, shotguns, and there's the vehicle durability as well. So if you just like a good overall co-driver here, which gives you bonuses for machine guns, shotguns, and cannons, which will also be your main weapons at the beginning. I think I can safely say. Then you wanna just stick with him for now, and then when you get to unlock the new factions and you can craft epic parts, that is probably a pretty good time to start considering choosing a specialized co-driver. But until then, don't mind. And also, you gotta start playing raids, because as you can see, we got a few different raids here which offer copper as reward. And the sooner that you can start getting copper, the sooner you can start crafting your new rare items. And crafting these is a pretty good idea. When you get as far, and we will cover this later, but if you are wondering already, in my opinion, before you start going for blue weapons, go for a good radiator and maybe even a good weapon cooler for your machine guns. I would take one off any day and put this here for a spare radiator and a spare weapon cooler, because you will just be able to fire for so much longer and cool down your weapons once again. Because once they overheat, they will cool down much quicker with a weapon cooler. So don't forget that. But I think that is all that we're going to cover today. Just the importance of farming fuel. And before we go, I also just quickly want to mention that the very first thing you want to craft is a fuel tank. And you will need all of these parts, which is also why you want to grind a ton of copper. Or just buy it, because if you get the huntsman cabin, you can sell it for the price of 100 copper. So you should be good to go on the crafting pretty fast. But always start out with a fuel tank so that you can grind fuel easily and either sell it for money or be ready for new raids. But that rounds it off. So thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe if you want more, because this is an entire series and it's growing and growing and growing, and we will develop it together. So yeah, subscribe if you want to stay tuned, and until next time, have an awesome day. Bye.